Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Erasmus Expeditions. We are here tonight with an ongoing D&D 5e campaign set in the Baroque eras of France, Spain, and Venice, but set in the world of Rosfin, a homebrew world of mine. This is in a kingdom known as Gerdes. And tonight's session number 6, is titled Reservations. Evermore le Masquerade is kind of an ongoing story about politics and lust and greed and assassination and all of those wonderful things. And I'm very, very excited to be getting back to this tonight. Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to pass things over to my players pretty soon here so that they can introduce themselves, tell you anything that they might have going on, or where they might be able to find you, or where you might be able to find them. That probably makes more sense. So welcome for the next 3 or 4 hours while I stumble over my words. I'm going to go ahead and give the same warning that I give every time. And that is, if mature subject matter or immature humor or dark subjects and sexuality are things that bother you, well, this game is not the game for you to watch. There will not be explicit sex in this game at any point, but we're going to skirt about as close as we can. So I think that's about everything that I wanted to touch on before we get started. So I'm going to pass things over now and let them say hello. So we're going to start with Karen.
I wasn't ready for that. Hello, everyone. I'm Karen, also known as Myth and Gears on all the socials. If you don't find me here, I'm over on Mini Terrain Domain or Dice on Ice. Tonight, well, normally I am Cameron Diego Ruiz Gonzala, but tonight, just for something different, I'm going to be Solana de I stumble over my words. Solana de del Calgones. That's all I got.
All right. Next, we have a very confused looking Austin.
A very confused Austin. Yeah, Karen used confusion on Austin. It was super effective. Okay, anyway, I'm Austin. I'll be playing Guillaume, the hopefully lovable bastard of the group. Or just the bastard of the group, depending on how things go. But I am super glad to be back. I had to miss the last session, but I watched it, and it was insane, and so much happened, and I am so excited to deal with all the fallout of everything we found out last session. So I'm just psyched to get into this, and you can't find me anywhere online because I'm not online.
Internet ghost. Yeah, dude, I'm super stoked to have you back. Hopefully you had a fantastic trip and everything, and I'm glad to see how things are going to fall into place for Guillaume. He said, not ominously at all. Speaking of not ominously at all, M.
Hello. I am M, and I run the Twitch channel Dice on Ice, where currently we are running through Curse of Strahd, and we are at our last 3 or 4 episodes until we are finished a 3-year-long epic campaign. So they're heading to the castle, and here's where the triumphant music starts, and I'm so excited to play them through the end of it. So tune in. It'll be really exciting, really action-packed. And yeah, that's everything that's going on with me. I will be playing Sylvie Levine, and I'm excited to see how this all pans out.
Excellent. And again, like ending a campaign is always a really awesome feeling, but one that's been running for years, that's going to feel amazing, and I'm very, very happy for you. Especially something like Strahd that has such a definitive, like, bookend kind of feel to it. It's just incredible. All right, speaking of incredible, Matt.
Come on, that was way too nice of a segue. I do not accept. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. I run a YouTube channel called Fistful of Dice. Almost forgot the name of my channel there for a second. And I also make RPG books over at Absolute Tabletop. Tonight, I'm going to be playing, as I always do, Locksley LaCroix, who is a swordsman and a bit of a roustabout. And we found out last time has a dark, mysterious past. And we might see some more of that past surface tonight. We'll see.
We shall see. Yeah, anybody that mentions a link to a channel and such, you should be able to find it in the description of this video down below. And I do highly recommend that you go check them out. Please take the time. It is absolutely worth it. Okay, and then last but certainly not least, speaking of absolutely worth it, we have Kenya.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm Kenya. You can find me on my Twitch channel, Acer Sin. You can find me on Twitter, where I basically just retweet things from other people and like them about once every other week when I post when these things are happening. Various other channels, Jarl DM, Iskloft, it's a whole thing. But tonight I am beyond excited to be back here because the wait for this game every month is the sweetest torture. And I am playing a human eloquence bard, Vera Marian Wynn Mesonero, and she is the Madam of the Castillo de Fugida, which is the House of Escape, which is the brothel, the house of good times to be had by all. And yeah, I'm beyond I'm so excited to just see how my wonderful associate G, as I call him when he irritates me, which is always, gets out of this mess he's gotten us all into. So this should be a good night.
With any luck. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming and watching us tonight. Hopefully you have a wonderful time. If you like this kind of stuff, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Also, for the first time this week, I've put up an RPG product for sale on DriveThruRPG. If you are a friend to the channel, then you might have seen the Expedition engine run a couple of times here. This one in particular is called Monster Jungle. It's been run twice here on the channel before. And if you go to DriveThruRPG and you can search for the Monster Jungle, and it's on there. Go check it out if you like that kind of stuff. Sweet. So, without further ado, I think we're ready to play some Dungeons and Dragons. If everybody else is. Yeah? Excellent. Let's do this. The beating heart of Gerdessi society is far and away ambition. Ambition for more. Ambition to succeed where others could not. And the ambition to take what others have achieved with the ambitions of their own. But the dance of Gerdessi ambition always begins with a single step. The step of confidence. To climb the ladder of society, there can be no missteps. To show doubt or misgivings is a weakness that draws in your enemies like blood in the water. Falter in the great dance, and there will always be someone to cut in and steal away the prize of your ambitions. The only place for trepidation is standing alongside the dance floor. We see the Via della Stote as we pan across the top of the city. We move inside the building with its lavish appointments, its grand architecture, the opulence on display everywhere. We move through the house until we come to the library. You see scrolls and tomes stowed neatly on shelves. And seated at a wide table within that library, we find Guillaume. I imagine perhaps a stack of books and or scrolls surrounding him as he's feverishly looking through them. Guillaume, how long have you been here?
It's been hours at this point. He's not entirely sure. He gets into this sort of haze when he's doing research. He kind of loses track of time. So it's really there's no telling. He knows that he probably needs to eat. It feels like it's probably been long enough, but he doesn't really care. And he knows he needs at least a little bit of sleep sometime in the next few hours. But again, he really doesn't care because there's so much fascinating information in these scrolls. It doesn't matter if it's useful always, but it's interesting. There's, he's not necessarily finding exactly what he's looking for, but he's definitely finding things, and that just keeps him going. I gotta read one more page. If I can just flip, I'll skim it, and then I'll stop. But it just keeps going.
If you would, please, roll me an investigation, I guess is actually what it's called. Words.
It's going to be a 15.
15, okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. You're supposed to have advantage on that because this is your family's library. I even have it marked down here to give you advantage.
That's going to be a 15.
Wonderful.
Not taking the 2.
Okay. So you're in this research. You're looking into all of these avenues of information that you're searching for. You almost don't even hear this noise, this sound that you have heard hundreds of times before. But it's a variation on the familiar noise. You hear the front doors open and then close. And you hear the booted falls of your father's footsteps across the marbled floor. And the reason it's different is because you recognize this gate. This is his angry gate. And it's rapidly approaching the library.
He looks up for just a moment and he'll just shake his head and keep looking at his papers and keep flipping through them. Best not to approach it head on. Just
within moments, you can see through the open doors at the end of the library, down the hallway that kind of leads to it, though it is dimly lit. You can see the figure of your father around the corner in the hallway and immediately make his way towards you with an aggressive briskness. You can see kind of pulling on his gloves, like one finger at a time, until he's able to remove it from that hand, and then does the same with the other before tucking them beneath his belt. He strides directly into the library, and by the time he breaches the doorframe, you can see that his eyes are locked on you. Guillaume.
Good evening, Father.
Good evening. I suppose today you decided that you would come home this evening, as opposed to last night and the night before.
It's been a socially busy week for me.
As if I cared about your social engagements. You... Guillaume. He moves to the opposite side of the table from you, where he just kind of stands, towering. The Justicaros came by last night. Or rather, I should say this morning, for it was very, very early.
When he says Justicaros, that gets Guillaume to set down the papers and like really look up at him for the first time.
You would understand my embarrassment when I told the Justicaros who were looking for you that it was impossible because you were in your room. Come to find out that I had lied to the Justicaros, and you indeed were not home. You are wanted for murder, Guillaume. Murder!
What? No. Father, I'm sorry I didn't give you word of my whereabouts. I didn't think I needed to. I thought you would understand if I was away a night or two. I thought you'd be pleased, in fact, to have the house to yourself, be rid of me for a few evenings. But what do you mean murder? You know me. I'm not a killer.
Do I, Guillaume?
And Guillaume would probably look like a little wounded at that, like a little genuinely wounded at that.
I would have thought so.
Thought you would.
But I don't understand. You are out all night, fraternizing with people that... You come home smelling of sewage.
Father, there are things going on that I can't talk to you about, but it's fine. I'm handling it. I'm not a killer. You didn't lie to the Justicaros. You didn't know I wasn't there. Did they look? Did they know I wasn't there, or
Yes.
do they think I was there?
No, I told them that you were not home. Whatever it is that you are involved in, Guillermo, I cannot get involved with myself.
Always calling me my brother's name.
I have responsibilities, Guillaume. Something that you have not yet learned is waiting for you. We had the conversation once, Guillaume. I admire the dedication that you show to seeking knowledge, and he kind of indicates the books. It is good to see that some things have not changed, but this impetuousness, this... I know that you must seek your own path. This is something that we have discussed, but this path that you are walking down, Guillaume, is... You need direction. You need discipline. You should have joined the Gerdessi Navy.
Father, there's no way that I will ever be you. And I don't mean that as an insult. I just mean I can't.
Guillaume, I understand that you will not be me. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be better than me. That's all I have ever wanted for you, but if you are consorting with murderers and assassins, Guillaume, there's only so much that I can do for you.
And he'll look at his father and like, does he look more mad or sad right now? Like, is he more like angry with me or more like worried about me?
Yeah, so like he's kind of that mad disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's kind of a little of both. Mad, but you can see that part of the reason that he's so angry is because he is so hurt and disappointed.
Father, I won't lie to you. I think I might be in some trouble. Obviously, you know this. The Justicaros are apparently looking for me, which actually might be the least of our worries. But I promise you, I will handle this.
He looks surprised
I'll clear
whenever
my
you
name.
whenever you say that this is the least of our worries. He kind of shakes his head. I don't understand how, Guillaume. Listen, whatever it is that you are involved in, you need to make amends with the Justicaros.
Who do they say I killed?
One of your classmates at the university. He is the son of a baron from the south somewhere.
Did they say what evidence? Why they thought it was me? And you can just like see the wheels turning.
Mhm.
Like, what the fuck? I took that note. Like,
Yeah,
I
and
took
he's-
that note. I destroyed it. Like, or
Yeah,
I think he
without a
destroyed it.
doubt, you probably even still have it with you. Like you can even put your hand on it, and that's 100% an invalid character confusion, I think. So he kind of shakes his head. They did not share with me what the status of their investigation was. Guillaume, if the Justicaros deem necessary to arrest you, I don't know that I can come to your aid.
He looks like his father just slapped him in the face. Okay, hold on one sec. I got it. Okay. He takes a moment and his eyes grow real icy for just a second. And he kind of takes a deep breath, looks his father in the eye and says, I understand. I didn't do this. And I guess I'll have to find a way to prove it.
I hope that you do, Guillaume. And that the Justicaros are wrong. Truly, I do. You should finish your studies. I will not interrupt you any longer.
Wait, Father.
He stops.
I probably shouldn't ask you this, but you know Hidalgo better than I do. You've lived here longer. You've known the intricacies of this place from your position. Have you ever heard of a society of men and maybe women who wear iron face coverings and operate in the shadows.
He had stopped whenever you called after him, but had not turned around. But whenever you mention this question, he slowly turns on his heel and looks at you. What did you say?
And he'll just stand up a little straighter, a little more certain now, say, "Men in iron masks. What do you know?" Something, clearly.
He reapproaches the table and kind of leans in closely. Do not underestimate such a group, Guillaume. If whatever you are doing involves them, then you are right. Your Jaskaros are the least of our concerns.
Guillaume and his father don't always get along, but he does like trust the man and believe the man has integrity, to the point that he'll say, "They may be the ones responsible for the murder I'm being framed for. I'm not sure. They're involved somehow. They were involved in one murder at least." And I'll say the name of the nobleman. I'll tell him about that.
Mm-hmm. They are responsible for the assassination of Consigliere Agniace. You know this to be true? You have proof?
Not exactly proof, but I have a friend who took a sword to the belly that could definitely give you an apt description of a man in an iron mask. He got close enough.
Guillaume, I cannot understate how much danger you're in. This group they have connections all over the city.
I thought I did too. Kind of look down like, kind of abandoning me in my moment of need.
Maybe you should leave the city. I can have the staff pack your things and we can very quietly sneak you out of Aledalgo tonight. You can go south, maybe to Manchalone, or perhaps even further to Elod.
I am not living as a wandering itinerant. No. And he'll just kind of huff at that. Like, no, this is my home. I'll figure this out. And with that, he's going to just kind of grab whatever the most like the 3 or 4 most relevant books on the subject he's been researching seem to be, and just walk back and start heading to his room.
And this time, it is he who stays and watches you walk away. If you do happen to glance back, you see the undoubted expression of concern chiseled into his face. Guillaume, through the research that you have done, looking into the 2 topics that you had mentioned to me before, you find a couple of pieces of information. The first of which is that you can read the vampire entry in the monster manual, and anything that's contained within that entry, your character will have knowledge of. And furthermore, you find out that there have been many many mask societies within Gerdessi culture throughout the history. But aside from what your father has told you, there's only one mention of an iron mask, and it's a record from nearly 100 years ago of a prisoner who was sent to the Castil de la Tajasso outside of the town of Manchalona. And that's the kind of prison that they send people to be forgotten about, like political prisoners that they don't want to handle anymore. But this particular prisoner had their identity kept a secret and was put into an iron mask to make certain that it was so. So what
Yeah, I guess
would you like to do?
He'll absorb that knowledge.
Sure.
He'll yeah, so he's gonna go to his room and he is gonna pack. He thinks this might not be the best place to be in case the Justicaros do come back here looking for him. So I'm gonna pack up as as much as I can, basically for the horse. Like I'll probably take my horse, and I'll probably leave my dog. I can't really take care of the dog while I'm on the run. Sorry, Palooza. Yeah, I think that's then he's oh boy, I think we might have had like probably would have made some sort of meetup spot because we were planning on getting back together somewhere inconspicuous.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, I won't take the horse. Not going to take the horse either. He'll just take what he can on a backpack.
Yeah, there are a few horses again in Al Hidalgo, but there's not a lot of streets in Al Hidalgo. It's mainly canals. So people who would have a horse here, there would be, maybe a dozen within the entire city. And
it also seems like it would be too easy to identify him by his horse if anyone knows the horse, just in case.
Absolutely, it would definitely not be conspicuous in
especially
the least.
With the flamboyant ass barding that I purchased for my horse when I got my starting funds.
Okay, that'll actually lead me right into this next part, which is perfect. So with your return to the city proper, after you've kind of come up from the court of the Forsaken, you're reminded, I suppose, that the celebration of Mardival is just around the corner. It's like less than 3 weeks away at this point. And the entire city is preparing. There's colored paper ribbons and banners and things that are being hung from balcony to balcony across the streets or the canals. Everybody seems to be kind of in full gear. People are putting together and making costumes, masks. Parade floats are being built on top of gondolas and larger boats. It's very much it's very apparent that the air in Al Hidalgo is shifting towards one of celebration. But as we kind of see that developing on the landscape of Al Hidalgo, we kind of pull down to see a square. This courtyard has an enormous fountain in the middle of it. It's known as the Fountain of Rainbows. And we know that this is the location of Sylvie's dressmaking shop. And nearby, we see a different kind of building where we see Guillaume arrive and meet Locks. But what I'd like to know is, where is it that the two of you have met? What kind of place is this?
I think this is maybe like a little like statue or just something that's an easy landmark, but not necessarily like a focal point of the city. It's almost like a statue that someone put here and kind of forgot about. It's sort of overgrown with like moss and algae and stuff from the water. And I don't know, Austin, what do you think? I was thinking maybe it's like a spot where one of us puked or both of us were puking, or it was like the end cap of like a really shitty night that both of us had. And so it's like the vomit statue. Like, hey, if we ever need to meet, if we ever get lost, we'll meet each other at the vomit statue.
I think it was like a place where we were like already vomiting, and then we got into a fight while vomiting.
Yes.
So we call it like the puke fight.
The puke fight.
It's just like, oh, that was the worst night. Don't remind me. But like, it's a good statue.
Just puking and fighting, and it was awful. But we'll meet there.
Perfect. Okay, so as I said, this court is dominated by a large fountain called the Fountain of Rainbows, and the reason is because the mist that this throws is caught in the daylight the majority of the day, which kind of causes this rainbow to appear in the mist that kind of surrounds the air around the fountain. And it's kind of lined with shops and cafes and things of that nature where you can kind of spend the day if you wanted. So we see Guillaume arrive into the square, essentially, and you spot Locks over near the vomit statue.
Yeah, it might take Locks just a second to even recognize Guillaume, because he's not dressed like a peacock's asshole. He's like, he looks like much more muted and like respectable. Like he just looks like almost like anyone else in terms of dress. Like, you know, he's not trying to stand out as much. And like, other than that, he hasn't currently done anything really to hide his appearance, but he just knows that like, maybe if I don't make such a scene, people, the Justicaros won't like find me particularly.
Yeah, there's maybe even a moment where like I'm looking into the crowd, sort of like visually like sifting through people to keep an eye out for you, and I almost like look past you initially, like I'm not actually looking at you, I'm just looking beyond you, because I'm looking for like garish, I'm looking for the colors and the shine and the gleam, and I don't see any of it. And so it's almost like a little bit of a surprise when I see you approaching out of the crowd, Guillaume. And I think since the last time you saw him, there's maybe a few more bandages on Locks, and he's swapped out his like jacket for this almost like it's sort of like a poncho, where it's just this like short sort of half cloak that can be thrown over the front. And he's sort of just like hiding the fact that he's sitting there with his hand on the basket hilt of his saber, this new saber that you've never seen before. And as you approach, he kind of just like breathes a sigh of relief and maybe even pulls you into a little hug. You all right?
It's been a bit of a, he'll look up a little bit, like check the sun. Morning. It's been a bit of a morning. Apparently I'm wanted for murder somehow. And he'll say that like just very quietly.
Yeah, we were kind of hearing some rumblings about that ourselves, actually. Actually really glad that I don't have to tell you about that if you're seemingly aware of it already.
Ah, yes. Well, my father broke the news to me. Apparently they came to my home asking for me.
When?
But last night. It's hard to tell what time. Look, kind of like I don't know. I've been reading.
Well, we've got some things in motion here, but Guillaume, if this gets any hotter, we might need to get you out of town.
Oh, you sound like my father. What am I supposed to do? We have to clear my name, obviously. This is all just a crazy misunderstanding. Although apparently, I will say, my father has heard of the men in iron masks, and he seemed rather terrified when I mentioned them. So, I mean, listen, I think we need to clear my name. Clearly, that's a priority.
Right.
We don't want to have to be running around in the shadows. And he'll say that's just like, oh, it's the most natural thing. But after that, we really might want to figure out how to make sure that these men in iron masks don't want to, continue stabbing us.
Yeah, that's probably a good sequence of events to go by. In the meantime, why don't I bring you to the others? We can sort of fill you in.
So you would know that there's only one other individual who's supposed to be meeting you, because Vera and Sylvie are going to be across the courtyard in Sylvie's shop for the Sylvie's soiree. But just about the time that you kind of are finishing up this conversation, both of you notice a younger female, what looks like a courier, kind of has entered the courtyard and is looking around. Loxley LaCroix? Is there a Loxley LaCroix here?
Yeah. I'm right here. Just we don't need to shout anymore. I'm right here. What's up?
She's completely oblivious to your, concern about anybody else hearing the name being shouted, and kind of cuts straight towards you and hands you a rolled up parchment with a seal on it. I was asked to deliver this to you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks. And I'll fish in my poncho for a coin and sort of look for her reaction.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yes. And she reaches for it.
Yeah, great. Here, and I'll give her a silver. Hey, thanks a lot.
She's very quickly has turned and moved off with quickness.
I'll turn the scroll around in my hands. Do I recognize the seal on it?
I don't know. Yes. Yeah. It seems to be Chimeran's seal.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and open it up, see what it says.
Take it away, Karen. What does it say?
Dearest Loxley, it is with the utmost contrition that I regret to avail you of the knowledge that I, due to unforeseeable circumstances that demand my immediate attention, will be unable to accompany you in this current endeavor. Please accept my humble apologies as your most devoted companion, Chimeran Diego Ruiz Gonzalez.
Damn, Chimeran's flaking. I roll it up.
Typical.
All right, well, I guess it's just you and me then.
Where is he? What did he say? Where is he? Did he say where he's going?
I mean, there were a lot of words to basically say I can't come, I can't make it, I'm busy. I don't know what he could be doing that would be more sort of important than what is currently happening.
I kind of feel like after last night, what we found out, that should probably preclude almost everything else.
I would say that definitely takes precedence. Yeah.
I mean, other than clearing my name, because that will just allow us to operate more easily in that regard.
Of course.
Well, shoot. I mean, do we just wait to see what they're gonna turn up at their little party?
I mean, I guess we were just kind of like, we'll be close. We'll kind of stick around so we can kind of just need to stick close to the shop in case shit gets wild,
I mean, of course, I could, and he'll say this with this air of like, oh, well, obviously I really don't want to do this. I could disguise myself and head in to keep an eye on things from the inside.
So they seemed pretty explicit that you should not be there. And I'm gonna respect their wishes and say we probably should not do that.
course.
They
of
mentioned it a
course.
few times that they didn't want you there.
Really? Me specifically,
Yeah.
or just
No, but
Oh.
yeah, you specifically by name.
by
Was-
by na- oh.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think we should probably hang out elsewhere, but stick close in case they need us. So
Yeah. I guess I won't go in there then.
well, but let's loop back though, because doing a disguise is actually a pretty good idea. We're gonna be out and about. It's daytime. Justicaros, are around. So maybe
Fine. Okay. Let me find somewhere to get changed.
right.
He'll start looking for kind of a private spot that he can walk into as one person and walk out of as another.
As Guillaume kind of moves away from Locks to find this place, we kind of wipe over to the interior of Sylvie's shop. Sylvie, there's a dozen or so ladies of society that have gathered here. Describe the way that you have set the place up. Like, what are we looking at when we see the interior?
I imagine that Sylvie has moved that rotating magical pedestal to one end of the shop and has to like the longest end, and has put in mirrors all the way around this pedestal, and has put in maybe a few mannequins in to show off the fabric, and then of course to invite the ladies on to the pedestal to kind of drape the fabric around them to show what it could look like upon them. And there are chairs set up kind of facing the chairs, and various, maybe she's moved the couches as well to create a very home like feeling, very casual feeling, but still very, very intimate and comfortable. So there's these couches and chairs that are facing this pedestal, and in the back there's been some light refreshments put out as well: teas, cookies, tarts, pastries. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so this has been going on for a few minutes, maybe as long as half an hour or so, where these ladies have slowly arrived one after the other. And we see that Vera is there. We also see an individual that we have not met yet, Solana de Cargones, who seems to be familiar with Sylvie. They seem to be at least close friends. And there's a myriad of other, like I said, society women who are gathered here, and one of which, who is also of interest and note, is the Condessa Katrina Calavera Garbancera. She is a countess. She would be higher ranking nobility than Guillaume's father. And she is also a consigliere here in Hidalgo, though she rarely even goes to the consigliere meetings. She very rarely attends, and even rarer than that does she attend social gatherings. So seeing her here is a bit of a shock. You don't even remember sending her an invitation, but this is not the kind of person you would turn away from an event. The really strange thing about her is she wears this wide-brimmed hat that's kind of rimmed in gold, but it doesn't matter how she moves or how she changes her positioning. You can never get a good look at her face. It's constantly shrouded in darkness, and the only indication that you have of which direction she's facing is this golden glow that comes from her eyes. In addition, the other guest of note, if you will, I'm going to switch back real quick. is the wife of a consigliere. And her name is Esquenada de la Apozuelo. She is married to Consigliere Mercuzio. She is not as interesting as far as rank or positioning in the city, but what's interesting is that she is pregnant and is missing her left arm. But there's a lot of rumors that have been spreading around about how she became pregnant. But as of right now, she seems relieved because, perhaps, for once, the gossip is not circling around her, but instead is mainly focused on the guest that has not yet arrived, Lavinia Strozzi. So, as this is kind of going on, and it's to the point where the rest of them have started to help themselves to the refreshments, even if it was pretty clear that the event had not fully started yet. They're definitely starting to help themselves, and there's little bits of chatter here and there across the room. What is Vera and Sylvie and or Solana? What are you talking about?
I think as soon as, sorry, could you put the names of the two women in the
I
chat?
absolutely will. Yes.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
So Sylvie's talking with, kind of pulls Vera over and points out these two women. I think that it would be best to pay particular attention to these two. And since you are such a great host, maybe while we still wait for Lavinia, you would be able to cater to them?
Vera kind of looks over at both the women and she nods. And I think when she first got to the shop, though, she probably, one of the things she would have done when she first got there is pulled Sylvie aside and kind of tucked in like real close to her and leaned over and whispered in her ear, and she would have told her, the Justicaros were at my house. If they come here, you and I were together last night. I have a birthmark that looks like a butterfly on my right ass cheek. And then she would have just kind of backed off. And
as you do so,
continued along.
you see Sylvie, like her cheeks are a bit flushed as you say this. But she goes away very quickly and she nods. It's quickly replaced by concern. Are you okay? Did they hurt you at all?
No. Well, no. But we are all not okay right now. But after the party, we'll talk about this.
She nods quickly.
And so then in this conversation here with this, she would have kind of stood a little taller and straightened herself up, and she's wearing this very this interesting kind of charcoal gray outfit that has like a lavender purple pinstriping through it, and then it's kind of got like a shimmer to it, and her hair is all done up, and she has matching jewelry on that coordinates with all of the different accessories and around the garter she wears. And she kind of stands up and, well, I will definitely do my best. I am a little concerned that the Condessa will be quite a challenge. I don't think I've ever seen her in public before, but I'm always up for a challenge.
Sylvie just smiles and lays a hand on your shoulder. I really appreciate it. I have to get these fabrics staged. You can see she's worried because I imagine in the, the few days that they've had in between these two events, Sylvie has like stayed up night and day trying to put pieces together for this fabric that she said existed, that she was about, that she needs to now make it exist. So you can see like the dark circles, despite, any kind of powder that Sylvie has tried, you can see the dark circles peeking through as she's trying to adjust this fabric.
I think Vera, seeing how nervous she is, would probably pat her hand onto Sylvie's and say, oh, dear, you are a miracle worker. You will do fine, don't worry. But anyways, the musicians are almost set up, and when Vera arrived, she brought a couple of the girls from the house with her, dressed up real nice, and they're there with their instruments, and they're kind of setting up in one of the corners. Are we looking for something lighthearted, something seductive, something calming? What's the mood you're trying to set for your new fabric?
She looks like very mischievously at you. She has a grin. She's like, I think that I have used what has been talked about, what has happened between me and who we've been associating with, and perhaps a bit of a macabre sound would be appropriate.
Wonderful. Something dark and tempting, then.
Sylvie nods.
Vera will go over to the musicians and tell them what they want played. And then, I guess, kind of start slowly making her way around the room, just tweaking maybe mirror positions and stuff. And then she will eventually walk up to the other ladies. But
I think Solana waits until Vera has left Sylvie's side at that point before she approaches. And you see Solana it's got like this flame red hair, and she's wearing this beautiful gown, but you can tell if you look at it really closely, if you have the eye for that, that it's not the finest material. It's well made, it's well cared for, but it's definitely on the lower end of the nobility fabric. It's like this woman is not wealthy, but yet still nobility. And she wears a black mask. It's delicate and very intricate and made of Gerdessi starling feathers. And she approaches Sylvie. Darling, you look tired. You've been working far too hard.
She says, and she kind of like tries to busy herself with something else. Her attention is very focused on this fabric. You've seen this look 100 times before when you're trying to get her attention for something and she gets distracted by a button or a clasp or something that shines. And well, maybe, but this, and she takes a step back from the fabric that she has kind of draped. So this mannequin, you can see that there's something underneath, but it's been draped over by this gossamer black sheer fabric to hide what outfit and what fabric lies underneath. I really do hope that they are blown away by this.
Sylvie, how could they not? Your dresses are amazing. Your fabrics are divine. Everything is so exquisite. Your talent is, well, it's uncomparable.
You see, she actually looks at you this time, and you can see her eyes meet yours, and she just smiles gratefully, and she says, "You better be careful. You might distract me. I do not need that right now."
Or maybe you do. But, Sylvie, how do you know the Condessa?
To be honest, I don't. She laughs. I pulled a stunt with all the other handmaids, and I guess I made an impression.
Well, I'm excited for you.
As you both look, the Condessa is like at the plinth and is kind of like pulling back some of the cloth to kind of like peek under.
You hear Sylvie just turns, I'm sorry, my lady, but we will begin very, very shortly. Do not worry.
She very quickly kind of drops it and pretends like, she just happened to be standing in this area and not, doing anything wrong. She turns and she says, "Yes, forgive me, I am confused. What is it exactly that we are waiting for?"
Oh, well, we want to make sure that everyone who was invited is able to come in and take a seat and to present the fabric to everyone, make sure everyone gets a chance to behold what it has to offer.
Ah, I see. Well, hopefully it will not take much longer. I have things to do. She kind of like turns with kind of a flowing grace. And even being within like an arm's reach of this woman, you could catch no definition of her face whatsoever. It's without a doubt there's some kind of magic at play that is keeping her face entirely hidden from you.
Yeah, she turns back to Solana. You could see like she almost kind of like shivers a little bit, just that kind of like shrugging shoulders, and she is very interesting, but she is just another one of those noble types.
I think as she kind of...
Solana would have like raised her eyebrows actually as the lady was disappearing, not in the like who's that, but more of the oh my goodness, she talked to us kind of raised eyebrows. And I was like, well, maybe you should start soon.
Sylvie sighs and she looks around trying to see if Lavinia has arrived. She looks to Vera, kind of eyebrow arched.
Vera is probably only a couple steps behind Condessa as she turns around to walk away. And as she stops the conversation with Sylvie and Solana, she kind of steps into her path and, "Madam, have you partaken of any of the refreshments this evening?"
No. But it is very kind of you to offer. I could not. It's very hard to tell if she is like unimpressed with the standards or if she maybe just isn't hungry. It's very difficult to read.
Understandable. So I'm kind of shocked to see you here, ma'am. I don't often see you out at social gatherings. What brings you here? How did you hear of Sylvie's event this evening?
Well, the people, they talk, and I don't always listen, but sometimes there are things that are said that are worth listening to. And I had not met Mrs. Levine yet, and had not seen what she is capable of, so I decided that I would come and see for myself. But I do not know. She kind of looks back at the shrouded mannequin at the head of the room.
Sylvie is a talent beyond imagination. I don't even understand how she does it most of the time. Forgive me, I'm being rude. My name is Vera Miriam Win Missanero. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, it is a pleasure. Though you are not entirely unknown to me. I have seen your establishment a few times. In my younger days, of course.
Of course. Well, forgive me for not recalling then. I was quite young at that time also.
Damn, see? It's getting uppity in here.
My cat, I'm sorry.
The finger sandwiches are running out.
Yes, well, forgive me for not recalling then, but I was probably quite young myself and not really paying attention to those things yet.
To be fair, it was before you came to the establishment. I used to be friends with the woman who ran it before you. Friends might be a strong word, but we were acquaintances at least.
Yes, madam. She is out traveling, enjoying her years, as she puts it.
If only. Sadly, there's too much here in El Hidalgo that I must do. The city needs me.
Well, your dedication is appreciated by all. So, if you find her fabrics enticing, do you plan on wearing them to the celebration?
Perhaps. There could be a dress or two that I might have made for Mardival. Depending. She again kind of casts her eyes up front.
You know what? Let me go see if I can give Sylvie a little bit of a nudge and get this moving for you.
I would be in your debt. She kind of bows her head ever so slightly.
She gives a very kind of polite little curtsy bow type combination thing and walks over to Sylvie.
Vera, as you cross the room, you hear some of the gossip that's being spoken. One of the ladies is saying to the other, "She hardly comes outside at all anymore, not during the day. She stays out all night, though, I am told." And at first, I think you probably think that they're talking about the Condessa. But then you hear them mention specifically, Lavinia, she is becoming aggressive, calloused. I don't know what's wrong with her. I doubt she'll even come today.
I think before she gets to Sylvie, she'd kind of stop maybe and sidestep in to see and maybe put her 2 cents into it a little bit and say, "So I am not the only one that has heard these things? What else have you heard?"
That she is tired all the time, that she no longer eats or drinks. Strange behavior.
Perhaps she is ill, or perhaps she is pregnant. I have heard that many women, when they are pregnant, cannot eat for a large portion of the beginning.
they all kind of like look over to Escanada, the wife of the consigliere, who is pregnant. She's, although looking towards being more towards the end, probably the last trimester, and she seems to be having no problem eating the refreshments that are left here.
She kind of just laughs and, well, I mean, she's almost ready to drop. I mean, at the beginning, dears.
Not quite. They say that she is about 5 months along. That means that she may have had that. She may have become pregnant during Amigazada. And there's kind of a shameful response from the rest of the people in the conversation, just kind of shaking their head.
So, Jeremy, like, is that like before, like they were actually married, or like
so,
was he
like,
gone? Like, what is that saying? Just so that I understand where that puts the timeline.
Right, absolutely. And culturally, Vera would understand this very well. So there's two like massive holidays in Gerdessi society.
Oh, yes.
One is Mar de Val, which is the celebration of the spring equinox, and it's like a week-long celebration. It's crazy and wild and kind of full of debauchery. But kind of the opposite of that during the fall equinox is Amigazada, and it's a month-long observation of like the veil between this world and the afterlife thinning, where the dead are kind of revered and things like that. But the key thing about that is that celibacy is kind of like strictly adhered to, because it's considered bad luck to conceive a child during that time, because the belief is that if that happens, one of the spirits of the dead might inhabit that child's body before it has a chance to get a soul of its own. And that tends to kind of lead to very bad outcomes in Gerdessi social opinion.
So these women are saying that she got pregnant during that celibacy time?
If
Maybe.
in fact
That's the
she
rumor
is,
they're spreading.
Yeah, exactly. If the timing is right, then that would be the
okay.
That would make sense.
So we're past that. We're moving into this. We're heading towards the spring equinox one then, right?
Yes, Mar de Val,
Okay.
the big, huge blowout.
Okay. And I think when they say this, Vera would kind of, she would not, no one would. Everyone knows, even I know better than that.
One of them says her husband probably knew better, and the rest of them kind of like, fawn, like feign, surprise. Because again, the rumor is it might not be her husband's.
I mean, perhaps it is just poor planning, and it was either right before or right after.
Perhaps. At that moment, the door to the shop opens, and none other than Lavinia Strozzi comes in. Let me switch. Oh, hold on. I realize it's the first time that we're going to be seeing her, so putting up a picture. All right. In strolls Lavinia Strozzi. She is a very beautiful woman, and typically she is a little darker of skin and feature, but when she comes in, you see that every inch of skin is covered. She's wearing gloves, she's wearing long sleeves, kind of a heavy jacket, and she has a brimmed hat that has a veil hanging over her face. And even though the veil is hanging over her face and is quite dark, you can see that her her normally dark skin, her kind of tanned skin, is very pale looking. She walks into the room and kind of a hush falls over the women gathered. All the separate conversations kind of die down, and even though some of them are not paying direct attention to her, there's no question that everyone knows that she has walked through the door. She walks in and confidently strides towards Sylvie.
Sylvie makes a curtsy to Lavinia, as she's done with all the other women who have come in. Ah, my lady, you are just in time.
Wonderful. I see that you have not started yet. She kind of looks at the half-eaten sandwiches on plates, and
she looks at the food, and well, the lady's got a little bit peckish, but no, we are. And she gestures to the still veiled mannequins. We have not begun, but please, we will be very, very shortly.
Wonderful. She leans in to kind of give that kiss to either cheek, and when she does the second, she lingers for just a little while. It has been too long, Sylvie.
Sylvie nods and puts her hands. No, actually, she would. I don't think she would. She would just smile, knowing the proper form in front of all the people who I'm sure are watching at the moment, and she'd smile and look to Vera, I guess, in
That's all I needed. Vera would, seeing this and seeing her come in, she would have looked at the other women and she said, well, at least she showed up. And then she would have immediately walk up to Sylvie and allowed the introduction to happen. But as soon as she sees that side glance over to her, Vera's going to kind of step up and she's going to reach out to put an arm out to Sylvie. But the way that she does it, she kind of slides it between Lavinia and Sylvie, as if she's kind of giving a little, and she keeps her shoulders kind of upright. She's very much so kind of putting herself in there to kind of give a little bit of a, this might be kind of mine thing, and push her aside a little. And she's going to lean into Sylvie and, Sylvie, I really think we need to get moving. The Condessa is getting quite bored. So I told her that I would speak to you and get you to start things in her honor.
Yeah, Sylvie nods hurriedly and she looks to Lavinia. Please excuse me. We can talk later. I'm sure we have lots of time. And
yes, of course. We could catch up over a bite later, perhaps.
Sylvie just nods, smiles, but is already looking elsewhere, and goes up to the pedestal. Ladies, it is time to take your seats and we shall begin. And she has had Constanza kind of lower down the lights, and I imagine at this point the music begins to swell and to become louder in the drama that is revealing these new fabrics. And as you may or may not know, I have recently decided to have a little more excitement in my life, for better or for worse. And she looks specifically to the lady who she knows, the lady of the hand of the maid that had talked to her in such a way, and she pointedly looks to this lady, and with the celebration of Mardival, I present to you 2 new fabrics that celebrate life, renewal, but not without death. and the cycle of life. And she brings out like the mannequin and she unveils. She says, I will let the garments speak for themselves. And she pulls the sheen fabric off and immediately.
Wait, hold up.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is where we're going to take our break.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I think that's a great place to pause. So that we can get the massive reveal whenever we come back. Yeah. Okay, cool. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in so far. This is incredible. I love this game so much, and I don't get to play D&D like this. This is amazing. So thank you. Yeah, sit tight. We are going to be right back. We're going to take 10 minutes, go to the bathroom, refill your drink, smoke them if you got them, kiss your spouse, etc., etc., etc. And then we're going to get to the second part of tonight's episode, titled Reservations. everyone. Welcome back to the second part of tonight's episode of Evermore le Masquerade. This episode is titled Reservations. This has just been fantastic so far, and I cannot wait to get to the second part. So I think, without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. So, we once again are in the city of Aladalgo, a city built amongst the canals. We see the gondolas going to and fro. The city is decorated, or being decorated in the tradition of Mardeval, which is just around the corner. We head to the courtyard where the Fountain of Rainbows is on display, throwing its mist and its cascading rainbow across the courtyard, where we see Lox and Guillaume standing there, though Guillaume might look a little different at this point. And across the square, where they are kind of keeping an eye, we see Sylvie's shop. And inside, all of the ladies have taken their seats and are waiting with bated breath, staring directly at you, Sylvie.
So Sylvie unveils this, and you can see that it's been loosely kind of sewn and put together in what looks to be a very standard dress with a bit of a train, and very reminiscent of what kinds of dresses are worn in this time. It is a beautiful green color, and slowly you begin to see shades of orange and yellow and red. And as you're looking at the fabric, you see that it reminds you of when you lay on your back and you look up in a forested area and you can just see the light of a sunset hitting the leaves of the trees and just kind of cascading down in these light beams that almost shimmer as they kind of float through the air. And looking at that, this dress reminds you so much of that. And Sylvie points to the fabric. As you can see, this is a beautiful green color with shades of orange and yellow, and it is sewn in this way just to show what it could look like from all different angles. But do not fear. You may request whatever you would like, whatever your heart desires for this fabric. But there is more. And she holds up a bracelet. And this is what that took her all of these hours and days to work on, was this bracelet. And you see a gem in it, and she puts it on, and she places her hand onto the gem, and immediately you see the dress begin to change. You see parts of the folds and the fabric flowing. It begins to harden, almost like paper. It begins to become rigid and turn into a light brown color, almost like a paper wasp's nest or some kind of chrysalid. And it hardens, and you can hear it. You can hear the sound of it becoming this very structured outfit. And in another instant, you think there's a beat of silence before this dress explodes, and you see a shimmer of these ethereal butterflies that fly throughout the shop. And what you're left behind with is a long, flowing, very, very dark green dress that expands out, and you see these butterflies just kind of, they go around the room. They're this ethereal brightness that has lit up what has been darkened in the room. And slowly you see that the dress returns to that light green with the yellows and the shimmering lights on it back into its previous form.
I
And she
think,
holds up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think at the moment of like almost the explosion of the butterflies, and as that's going around the room, Solana has jumped up from her chair, and she is like, this loud gasp, and then she's clapping as heartily as she can, like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of collective gasping from the women gathered, and all of them are definitely applauding, although maybe not quite as on display as Solana.
Sylvie just kind of smiles. You can see the blush kind of creep up again to her face as she puts the mannequin aside and she brings out the other one, and she smiles. And this one is not for the faint of heart, but only those who truly want to feel the soul of Madival. And she pulls it again, and you see very strangely this, it's red, crimson red, with flowers and roses and carnations just absolutely covering the dress. And not only that, the dress seems to cover every inch of the mannequin. You can even see the sleeves all the way down that turn into gloves, and it covers the feet and covers, even you see a very, very extreme neck collar that kind of goes up into a very high backing. And again, Sylvie holds this bracelet, and she places her hand over it in a very similar way. And I would imagine at this point, you would hear a collective gasp, if not scream, from some of the ladies at the front row, for it looks as though the dress has been lit on fire. And as the flames lick up and out to the crowd, the women kind of hold their hands, but instead of flames, they see that it was just an illusion of petals and ribbons of different colors that have all been that have been like flown like exploded out from the dress, as they hold on to these petals that have fallen down. And in place of where these petals have all fallen down is a rather scantily clad mannequin. The dress is extremely risque for that time, especially. It has a bunch of different cutouts and places where it is still very flattering and still just covers everything, but it's definitely more of a celebratory gown. And as you look at this dress, you see that slowly over time, flowers begin to bloom on this dress. And as it does so, it returns back to that very long, very elegant looking dress.
Magnifique! Magnifique, Sylvie! You have outdone yourself!
Please take a point of inspiration. Those are incredible. Immediately, the room kind of erupts with discussion amongst the different attendees, and Lavinia comes up once again towards you, Sylvie, and she says, "I absolutely must have one. The roses, but could I make a request?"
But of course.
Instead of fire, could you make blood?
Sylvie's eyes go kind of wide for a moment. Lavinia, that is, I am sure I could, but it seems a little...
Life and death, as you said.
Sylvie stops in the middle of her kind of blustering, and or not blustering, but just stuttering, and she blinks at Lavinia and nods. Yes, I'm sure it would create quite the conversation. Of course.
I think Solana has walked up at this point, seeing Lavinia like kind of corner you almost. And she's hearing that, change it into blood, and she's listening to the replies. And she'll turn to Lavinia. But would that not be messy and sticky?
Not any more than the fire set ablaze the room. The illusion, the magic that you have used here is part of the charm, but I was just wondering if something a little different, perhaps, for an old friend. And she kind of like almost shifts herself in between Solana and Sylvie.
Oh no, that's not going to work so well. Solana doesn't let her do that.
When it seems like there might be... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Sylvie just like kind of seeing the tension like building a little bit. She turns to Lavinia. I will... she kind of like darts like maybe not like kind of a dirty look like at Solana, just like a warning of like, this is a customer, like don't screw this up for me. And Sylvie just turns back quickly to Lavinia. I know that I can make this for you, and I will do this. And
Wonderful.
It will be to the amazement of everyone, of course. But please excuse me, I must speak with the others who probably are going to want to bid on the fabric that, or probably want to persuade and buy the fabric that is already here.
Of course, I really should be going anyways. And she kind of leans in and gives the kind of side kiss again, and then again she kind of lingers for a long time, not at your ear, but she actually lowers like towards your neckline. And she actually then like plants a kiss on you, on your neck, on the side that Solana is on.
Oh no. Sylvie just like, you can feel like Sylvie just kind of like stiffens and but knows enough etiquette to not flinch away or back away or anything like that. And just yes, how about in a few days we will have a fitting for you, no?
Wonderful. Perhaps a private fitting. She then flashes a look in Solana's direction and then turns back to you and smiles. Sylvie, you're not certain. It's been a little while since you've seen Lavinia, but you don't remember her canines being quite as pronounced as this smile kind of reveals.
Super. Sylvie just smiles back, maybe a bit too wide, teeth a little bit too clenched, as she can't help but look down briefly for the slightest moment at Lavinia's teeth. And yes, of course, whatever you need.
She then turns, again, stopping for just the smallest of moments to kind of look at Solana again. You look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?
I rather doubt it.
Something... She almost like... kind of almost like sniffs. Perhaps not. She then turns and makes her way to exit the shop. We see her exit the shop into the square where this fountain is located. She moves just a few steps beyond the doorway before she stops, and she turns her veiled face to look in the direction of Lox. Lox, you see this veiled woman. Something about her is slightly familiar. She stops and looks in your direction, but the veil is dark and you cannot see who it is. But then just after a moment, she turns and moves away.
That was weird.
Guillaume, though you likewise did not recognize this woman, there was something familiar about her, and though she did not seem to linger on you the same way, it was clear that this person recognized Lox.
Guillaume would turn to Lox, and at this point, his body is exactly the same. Even the clothes he's wearing are the same, except for their color. They were before they were fairly like muted, kind of like blue on blue. Now he's got like a powder blue and kind of orange with a bright red cravat. But his face is completely different. Like his facial features look different, and his hair is a different color and styled differently. And it's Lox, knowing that this is partially magic, might be able to kind of see through to his regular features underneath. But in general, he's tried not to alter himself as much as possible, just to make it so that anyone brushing up against him would feel the real fabric that he's wearing. But he would turn to Lox. Oh, and he's also going to be like, he's speaking in a different voice when he returned, and not Guillaume doing like a like making a voice. Like it's him, like it's literally someone else's voice, like some other citizen that he like followed around while he was listening. Loxley, do you know this woman? She seems to have known you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've hard to get a good look at her with the veil, but there's something familiar about her, and she certainly seemed to know me. Got a weird feeling when she looked over here.
Something about her was familiar.
Seems like the party might be wrapping up if people are leaving. So far, so good.
Well, we will find out once what Sylvie and Vera were able to discover.
This voice of yours it's really something. I think you should use it all the time.
I mean, this is possible, but I do not particularly like this one, if I'm being honest.
I think it's great, personally.
Let me try something else.
Now that one is interesting, actually. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. Let's talk more in that voice.
I suppose this will have to do. It may be recognizable to those who know my father, but I will try.
This is your dad's voice?
I mean, it's one I know well.
It's kind of now it's weird. Now I don't like it as much that I know it's your dad's voice.
That's fair. I'll find another. I suppose.
Yeah, just keep rolling through them. We'll find one that's good.
The Padre Primavera would be a bad idea, I suppose.
I don't know. I feel like everyone in this town does their Padre. You know, they all have their version of him, and no one can quite get it.
No, I listened to him speak long enough. I'm pretty sure I could do it, but not here. Some people would recognize, and that might be awkward.
We cut back inside the shop where things are starting to die down. People are beginning to leave. They've placed, several of them have placed orders. Seems like in the next 3 weeks that your work is certainly cut out for you, Sylvie. So
I have one
yeah, I was
question
just
real quick. Okay.
absolutely. So I'm just going to say, like, while the party's dying down, with your question, also just describe to me kind of what the atmosphere is, what you're doing, things of that nature. But your question, can you?
Yeah, when the dresses were going on and going, like, the transitions were happening and everything, Vera, of course, is interested in the dress, but she's, here for other purposes. So what were the Condessa and Iskanda doing as these reveals were happening? I'm especially Condessa really interested in what her reactions were to the fabrics and the transitional stuff, etc. And also, was she watching anyone else in particular in the room?
Okay, so the wife of the consigliere seemed impressed, genuinely, and did not order anything from Sylvie, but did definitely seem to be genuinely impressed. The Condessa, on the other hand, she didn't pay a lot of attention. Like, she saw, but she was watching Lavinia pretty closely.
Interesting. Okay.
As it's kind of dying down inside, and the women have made their orders, and Sylvia looks like she's got less and less to do at this moment, Solana would then make her way back over there, having left her to her business. I'm sorry about earlier, but there's just something about that woman. I don't like her. I think she's dangerous.
Sylvie you can see there's like a conflicting look in Sylvie's eyes as she nods eventually. I am not sure what is happening with Lavinia. She does seem different.
You knew her from before.
She nods, but doesn't say anything more. And looks, I think that would not meet your gaze.
I think maybe that's at the point where you can't meet her gaze, so you're looking kind of down, maybe where her head is joining her shoulders at her neck, and that's when you notice, you didn't see it before because you were far too busy, but the scarf that you gave her, that you saw in Chimeran's place, is around her neck right now.
Oh, that is the scarf I gave you. You found it.
Of course, I love it. I'll always wear it when I come to see you.
Sylvie just smiles. Yes, but I assume that you may have lost it for a while?
Oh no, never.
Right. Well, it is beautiful.
Thank you. I do love it. I think it was one of the most beautiful things you've made.
She smiles and touches your shoulder just or your arm just very lightly. I am very glad that you came.
I'm glad you invited me. It's been too long. I've been worried about you.
Me? Oh. And she just kind of like waves her hand. There is no need. I have been absolutely fine. Those rumors, just maids' tales.
Are you busy later?
She smiles and looks, like kind of glances to see if anyone is approaching her or directly wanting to talk to her, and seeing if there isn't, she looks back at Solana and just smiles, and shakes her head. Not busy enough for you.
Well, in that case, I look forward to our meeting later. But I'll take my leave now and let you get back to it.
Sylvie nods and just watches her leave, like not in the usual way that she does, but in a very like head tilting, just still looking at that scarf. As she straightens out her dress, is the Condessa still here, or she left?
Absolutely.
Sylvie wants to approach the Condessa, and I hope that your first visit to my shop will not be your last.
No, it was certainly illuminating.
She nods, and she's like looking at the fabric that the Condessa is wearing, and even trying not to look directly, but just glancing at the darkness that is her face, with more of like impressed than anything. Your outfit is beautiful. I must know who made this for you.
Thank you. It is something that I've had for quite some time. It is something that I made.
Oh, no, you. And she like holds her hand up, just look. I did not know you were an accomplished seamstress.
When I was younger. She kind of almost laughs.
I am honored not to only have you as a Condessa here, but as a lady here, but as a very, very as an expert in this craft. And I really do hope to see you again, and maybe I can make you a new dress. I'm sure you are very busy now.
Yes, I look forward to hearing from you again. I think perhaps we must talk again soon. Perhaps you can come to my villa sometime and show me what else you have in your collection.
Sylvie stands up straighter, just, oh, yes, of course. Anytime, just call for me and I will be ready to present what I have in a more prestigious collection.
She kind of gives a slight nod and she says, forgive me, for I am not the type to gush. She kind of looks in Solana's direction. But you have quite a measurable talent, my dear. I look forward to seeing what you will do in the future. In this and in all your endeavors. She kind of like hangs on the air.
So you did try my cupcakes. Yes, I have been working on those very, very. She kind of like glides over that and just is very abuzz with the idea of being invited over. And after talking a little bit, just excuses herself. It was very nice to meet you.
Likewise. She then turns and will exit herself.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I think Vera, you would see like a little dance that Sylvie does, just very, very clearly excited from the conversation.
Go ahead.
Vera would smile a little bit and probably maybe make eye contact with Sylvie and just give her like a slight little wink on the side, kind of appreciating the conversation. Because of course Vera was far enough away to give them room, but close enough to overhear. And she would in turn head over to the girls who've been playing music all night and kind of tell them to pack up and head back to the house. And she'd like to talk to Escanada before she leaves, if possible.
Sure.
As she's walking out, she can catch her.
Mm-hmm.
Just oh, madam, and she'd reach a hand out and
yes.
Well, I just wanted to stop and take a moment. Since the reveal of the fabric, everything's been such a flutter. It's just been I didn't get a chance to introduce myself to you. And
yes.
Vera Marion Wynn Mesonero of the Castillo.
It is lovely to meet you.
You also, honestly, I wanted to congratulate you. And she'd point down at her rounded belly.
She kind of like reaches with her hand and touches it, and you can see that she very quickly is like subconscious about where this conversation might go next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a joy, and well, I just thought perhaps you would enjoy hearing that I am excited for you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm very excited too.
I noticed you're not ordering any of Sylvie's fabrics. Was there something wrong with them?
Oh, no. She kind of like tries to redirect the understanding of the situation. I have no plans to attend any of the celebrations. And you notice again, her hand has not left her belly. She's still very much kind of cradling. My husband will attend, of course, but I'm certain by then I will not be up on my feet very much.
Well, I think that I should talk to Sylvie for you. Because while you cannot attend, there's no reason that your newborn child cannot have a divine outfit to make their appearance in this world.
That is not necessary. You don't have to do that on my behalf. I don't know that it's going to be. I don't know that it will be much of a celebration either, for some.
Oh. Can I roll an insight on her, Jeremy?
Sure. Absolutely.
22.
You get the sinking feeling that the rumors that are going around might have some truth to them, or at least they extend as far as her own household. And she seems ashamed, I guess is probably the best word.
I think Vera catching this off of her would kind of soften herself. She would remove some of the social stiffness and formality that's so important at these types of things, and she'd kind of step into her a little bit and maybe take a hand and gently touch, if the woman allows her, like gently like touch her elbow or something, and she would look at her with these very kind of like sympathizing eyes, and she would just kind of nod to her and say, "Perhaps I am biased, but I have always told those around me, do not be ashamed of who we are and what we desire, for good things come from them." And she'd maybe give her arm like a little squeeze, kind of just trying to relay the message that she understands what's going on, but she's not judging her at all for it.
Right. And you can see like her half elven features kind of soften a little in response to this kindness that you've shown, and she looks at you for a long moment. She says, "I did not know what to expect when I saw you here. I know that you are someone who knows a lot of people in the city. Is it possible that you might know, and I know that I should not even ask, but do you know a man by the name of Magrino Palico? He is someone who is dear to me, and I have not seen or heard from him now for many days."
Do I know him, Jeremy?
Roll. Oh, you know what? I don't think so.
Okay. She would ponder it for a few moments, and I'm sorry, dear. I do know a great many people, and he's unfamiliar to me.
It's difficult for her to hide the disappointment. The time that passed between her question and the beginning of your answer, you could sense like a rising desperation in her expression, and now that seems to have been dashed on the rocks. Forgive me, I understand. I perhaps overstepped my bounds.
Not at all. But anyways, would you care to take any of the desserts or anything with you?
Oh no, well, maybe just one or two. And she kind of goes and grabs like two, and then grabs a third.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, dear. And she'll walk her to the door.
She thanks you. And as she's kind of holding these desserts in one hand, it's pretty clear that she won't be able to open the door herself, since she does not have a left arm from like beneath the bicep or so. So she kind of thanks you whenever you open the door for her, and then she goes on about her way.
Okay.
About that time, another individual enters the courtyard that surrounds the Fountain of Rainbows. Once again, this person seems to be looking for Locks. Locks, you look and you see the young leader of the urchins, who you've come to know is named Bolso, Bolso. He comes like wide-eyed, running up in your direction, and he's kind of making this kind of kind of noise, very clearly trying to get your attention.
I think I sort of note him like immediately, and I sort of make like a subtle like meet me over here, and I move off back toward the puke statue, which is kind of, I imagine, sort of in this shady, sort of tucked away little mini alley, and I'll sort of like lean against the wall there and wait for him to come to me.
He meets you over there. And he looks a little agitated. Sir, there are 3 men coming. They're looking for you. They have weapons.
Slow down. Three men coming for me specifically?
Yes, they know you're here.
Who are these men?
I don't know. They look dangerous.
Okay. All right. What direction are they coming from?
Right over. He kind of like turns, and you see 3 individuals enter the square. These individuals are dressed in clothes that are maybe like close to a decade out of style. They're tattered, dirtied, stained, and they wear kind of tattered cloaks. And you see, as the 3 of them enter kind of the archway that leads into this square, one of them, who has kind of like wispy facial hair, kind of sniffing at the air, looks in your direction and looks down, and you can see this kind of, again, almost that kind of, it's not lentacular, that kind of reflection in the back of his eyes.
Right. I turn to Balso and I hand him a copper piece. I say, I need you to do one more thing for me. That dress shop over there, Sylvie's place. I want you to run in there. I want you to find Sylvie, the owner of the shop. Tell her the rats are here. And then I want you to leave. Okay? Go hide somewhere.
But you need me. You need me here.
Also, I got this. Okay?
Okay. He takes the coin and like hurries off in the direction of Sylvie's shop.
And if Guillaume is nearby, I will get his attention and say, hey, we got company.
All right. Roll for initiative, please. I'm sorry, Austin. Go ahead.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Okay. The other 3 of you can go ahead and roll initiative as well, if you would, please, just so that we can go ahead and get you in order. You may not have anything on the first round, but we'll probably work you in here. All right. Oh, damn. Look at Locks. Go. 22. All right. Sylvie was a 19. Holy shit. Solana, 24. Mira. And yeah. Okay, so the first to react, well, it would technically be you, Solana, but as of right now, you don't know what's going on. So I think for this round, we're going to skip over you. But the next in line is Locks.
Okay, so let me get my head wrapped around this here. Is this a reaction? Yeah, okay, cool. So I don't need to precast that. So how far away from me are they at this moment?
So, okay, we have this square, and the square is probably 50 feet across, give or take.
Okay.
And the fountain is probably 25 of that, roughly, more or less in the center. So there's kind of this, it's not quite a ring because it's a circle within a square, but that
Right.
leftover space around the outside that basically is all of the front shops that form this barrier, if you will.
So I think what I'd like to do, since they like have a clear beat on me and I don't think even know who Guillaume is, and he's in disguise anyway, I'm going to try and like very obviously, I want to try and find an alley, an alcove, something where it's narrow enough where I can fight them one at a time. Like I don't want them to get around me. I just want to deal with one at a time. So is there like, if I do a quick like glance around, is there a good area for me to kind of lead them to?
That's a good question. Let's get a roll.
Yeah.
Let's leave it up to the dice. Let's see. Perception, perhaps? Maybe investigation?
Yeah. Let's do let's do an investigation.
Fair.
All right. 16 all up.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. You spend enough time kind of here without, much to do, waiting for this soiree to kind of get underway. And you've kind of been able to study the area enough that you know the perfect spot.
Cool. So I will head toward that spot, making my movements very obvious and maybe even like glancing over my shoulder and locking eyes with this lead thug here across the way. And I guess that'll be my turn. It's a skill check and then some movement. Okay.
Yeah. So you kind of turn and duck down this alleyway, maybe even with like a big, like flourishing billow of your cloak kind of thing. And it looks like the three of them are absolutely going to take the bait. They begin kind of starting to move that direction.
And my hope here too is that Guillaume kind of gets the picture that, hey, wait for them to come to me and you can come behind them. You know what? Like we're doing the old, this is Puke Statue, the sequel, baby. We're going to do the same thing here that we did for the Puke Statue fight.
Yeah, Guillaume's just going to keep trying to look like inconspicuous and like.
Yeah, one of the three kind of stops and kind of in your direction, Guillaume, kind of sniffing the air, but doesn't seem to follow through with their suspicions. And and they move to follow Locks down this alleyway. The lead kind of gestures just ever so slightly, Guillaume. You would only see this, I think. And you watch as the other two of them kind of move a little, kind of spread out away from the lead. And they kind of duck down into like some nearby like planted bushes and things of that nature. And you can hear this kind of with the snapping, stretching noise. And you might even miss it, but after just a moment, you see large rats scurry out from this bush and head down that alleyway after Locks. Two of them have transformed and are going to move their full movement. But because Locks, you are longer legged than them, for the moment, they will not be able to pass you. The third, however, the lead, has stopped in the end of the alleyway, and you can also hear that snapping, stretching noise, Locks, as it kind of echoes down this narrow alleyway. And when you kind of turn to look, you see not a man standing behind you, but a hybrid rat who gives you this red-eyed glare and makes this kind of noise in your direction before drawing a less than hygienic looking short sword. Oh no, actually this round, because you're still some distance from him, he is going to instead pull out that hand crossbow that he has. And he is going to level it in your direction and fire. Okay, what is your AC?
AC is 16.
Okay. How does he miss you?
So he brings the crossbow up and fires, and he fires sort of just at the instant that Locke sort of sees the crossbow come up, and he like ducks behind this stack of crates, and so the bolt just sinks, embeds itself into the crate that Locke's just ducked behind.
Absolutely. It kind of lunges itself. No. Lands inside of the wood of the outside of the crate, and you can hear him kind of making a squealing sound of displeasure. Okay. Okay, so we see back inside the shop, the door like flings open, like threatening to come off of its hinges, slamming into like the receiving wall as a young, filthy looking boy enters the room. Some of you may recognize him because it was night, but you did follow him to meet Armand for the first time. He kind of throws the door open. There may be even like one or two of the ladies like still left that are kind of lingering behind, and they kind of look aghast at his arrival, and they kind of and like very quickly make their way around him and out the door. And he says, Miss, kind of looking towards you, Sylvie.
I think Sylvie goes to start in just like a string of like in a different language, just like, what are you doing here? Get out! Like,
yeah, he like brings his arms up around his head, like defensively, like waiting for like the slaps and the blows to rain down. Looks, it's in trouble outside. Quick!
And she immediately stops. Where is he?
By the fountain. Hurry!
Immediately, Sylvie looks to Vera, just see if she heard, and if so, then she is going to run out.
He kind of looks after you as you're running out, and he kind of turns and looks at Vera. Should I come? Should I come to help? Locke said no, but I can help. He kind of brandishes this like crude knife.
If Nox told you no, then no. Go. Of course he's in trouble. It must be a Wednesday. And she marches out the door.
Perfect. Okay, so let's see. That was the kid. Guillaume, it is your turn.
Oh boy. Okay. So seeing that they haven't quite all reached the funnel point, right?
No, not yet.
Okay.
One of them is basically kind of standing at the mouth of the opening, as it were, wielding this hand crossbow. The others right now are scampering in that direction.
How far away from each other are they?
I would say they're all within 20 feet of each other.
That'll work. Okay. Guillaume's gonna do something a little foolish, but seeing that like maybe they've sort of cornered Locks in this alleyway, he's gonna take his opportunity. No, unfortunately, no, I don't have that one yet. That's third level, I believe. He's going to sprint as close as he can to the center of them. I think I should be able to probably avoid getting between two of them if they're at least like 10 feet away from each other.
So I think you're going to have to either pass by the one at that is still one of the ones that is still a rat, or get close enough to the one that is firing his crossbow bolt. You'll have to basically choose which one you want to pass close enough to.
I'll go with the crossbow bolt guy. He seems distracted enough.
Okay. So as you kind of pass between them, he is going to kind of, you see that ear on that side of his head kind of twitch in your direction, and blindly he turns around and gnashes his teeth at you as you pass by him. So, what is your AC?
Haven't had a chance to mage armor yet, so 12.
Ooh, okay. He does not get a hold of you, but he got very close. So you get like close enough that you hear like that, that noise that, kind of that gnashing teeth noise as these rather large kind of incisors try to take a chunk out of you. But you managed to... Go ahead.
I'd imagine that they tear a chunk of this illusion disguised fabric off, and it just turns to the muted gray blue in his mouth.
Nice.
Vibrant orange.
Yeah,
but
perfect.
So Guillaume will slip right past him, barely evading his grasp, and then he's going to stand straight up, and he'll push both arms out in a very jarring, forceful motion as he casts Thunder Wave.
Nice. That is a con save? Is that right?
I'm double checking. Yeah, it is going to be a con save, and I'm going to do it at second level.
Okay. And what is the DC that they need?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's an important aspect of that, isn't it?
I mean, what if?
13.
Okay.
Right. It's
every single one of them failed.
Oh yes. Okay, so that's going to be 3d8 thunder damage, and they are all pushed 10 feet away from me. So,
okay.
Ooh, good. 6 and a 5, so 11, and then another 5 for 16.
16 points of thunder damage?
Yes.
Okay. They all... Ooh, okay. They're all alive still, but that definitely messed them up. The two that are small, rodent-sized, they get flung like several feet away, kind of tumbling and rolling. And when they kind of right themselves, you can see patches of fur missing, places where their skin is maybe like torn or busted open. And they're bleeding. The one who was standing in front of you, between kind of you and Lox, has now kind of stumbled forward, fallen on the ground, almost like at Lox's feet. I would say there's maybe 10 or 15 feet remaining, but he's on the ground in Lox's direction. Okay. That brings us to the end of the round. Okay, so... all of you, if you wish, can roll a... let's make it a history check. And Sylvie, you can have advantage on this. Okay. Okay, cool. Solana's and Guillaume's in. Okay. Sylvie's, Vera's. All right. Lox, did you roll a history? Did you want to roll?
I did. I only got 10 though.
Okay. All right. So, Solana and Sylvie, the two of you know that this fountain that dominates this courtyard is dedicated to Vegela, the goddess of chance and luck. And there is a long-standing superstition about this fountain in the form of a poem. And the poem is told as follows. It seems fortune favors the bold, but only if they pay in gold. If a pauper pays copper for his heartfelt offer, his luck in his hand he shall hold. There are some that say that this fountain can grant wishes. So as you run into this courtyard dominated by this fountain, that's somewhere in in your mind. Solana, it is your turn.
Huh. Okay. Okay, seeing the young urchin run in and go straight to Sylvie, and I kind of maybe heard the words locks and trouble, and just enough to know that I need to get outside. So Solana is going to run outside, kind of try to take what's the word I'm looking for? Look around and try and figure out what's going on.
Stock.
There's a word for that. Thank you.
Mhm.
Take stock of what's going on outside, and what's happening and where.
Yeah. So I think, like, as you're coming out of the shop, you hear this like thunderous, like, clap, because Thunderwave creates like a boom of like a clap of thunder. So there's, without a doubt, like, you heard it. And when you come out and look, you can see that Guillaume is kind of standing there with his arms outstretched. You might be able to make Locks kind of out down the alleyway just a bit, but the others, like, for one, the rats are so small that I don't know that you would even look at them and think anything was odd. But there does seem to be an individual on the ground between Guillaume and Locks in the alleyway.
I would run towards the alleyway where the noise is coming from to see what's going on and who's on the ground and take better look. I have a movement of 30, so I don't know if I can get there in one movement. If not, I'll use a double move.
So you could get to basically where Guillaume is with your movement. And if you wanted to move past Guillaume, you would have to double.
No, if at Guillaume, can I see what's on the ground?
Yeah, once you reach Guillaume, you can see, I mean, it might kind of take a double take, but you realize that, you know, while humanoid in shape, that where there should be skin on this individual, there's like this gray matted fur. He has ears, and, you know, with the cloak kind of kicked to the side, you can see a long, gross kind of tail appearing from beneath his cloak.
Okay. Oh, that's disgusting. And she will, can I hit with my dagger from this advantage, or do I have to, like, throw it?
Sure, you would have to throw it, yeah.
Okay, I will throw it at the prone figure.
Okay,
as I'm
so
screaming.
I think ranged attacks at prone targets have disadvantage. Just so that you are aware. But you are absolutely able to throw it at him if you'd like.
So one good, one not so good. The not so good was a 13 to hit.
That will hit, actually.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, they seem to be wearing little more than rags.
For 5 points of damage.
Okay. All right. So you throw your dagger and it hits him, and he kind of, you know, again, recoils and squeals this kind of horrendous noise. And starts to kind of roll over and stand up. It kind of shoots his head in your direction. These glowing red eyes with this menacing glare at you.
As a bonus action, is Locks within 30 feet? Sorry.
I think probably right at the edge of.
Oh no. Okay, so the target. I'm going to aid Guillaume in attacking this creature.
Okay. So that is Solana.
Sorry,
okay.
I'm reading it wrong. No, if Guillaume is within 30 feet of if Locks within 30 feet of me at this point.
Yes, I think just at the range of 30.
Okay, and he's got like something on him, in front of him, or whatever, right?
Well, this creature is kind of on the ground about 20 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet, something like that, around or in front of him.
Okay, yeah, I will use the help action to aid Locks in attacking this creature, as long as this creature is within 30 feet of me. So
okay,
it's called
Excellent.
my Master of Tactics, as I distracted enough, I guess, to help Locks out.
Okay, yeah, I mean, with the fact that you just sunk a dagger into its back, his attention is certainly turned to you, at least for a moment. Lox, it is your turn.
Seeing this were-rat first get toppled to the ground by the spell and then get a knife in his back, and you said he's kind of standing up and turning toward Solana.
Yeah, as of right now, he's still on the ground.
Oh, he's still on the ground. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, even better. I emerge from behind these crates and just stride towards him, closing the distance in like 3 or 4 strides, and throw back my poncho and reach for that silvered saber, and I pull that out. I'm going to try to attack him here. I believe I have advantage since it's melee and he's prone.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Ooh, first roll is a 23. Let's make sure I don't. Oh my god, it was a 20. Oh, I critted. This is my first crit of this campaign. 6 sessions in. Holy shit. Okay, awesome. Oh my god. Let me roll this damage. Oh, it's good damage too. 19 damage total. Silvered.
Okay, it is silvered. Is there something else about that sword? I believe it has something crazy going on, doesn't it?
Does it?
Hold on.
I can't remember.
I
know
will
it was
take a
silvered
look.
and it was a +1.
Mm-hmm. That might be it.
Didn't it have another? Wasn't there another one? There were 2 of them, right?
Let's see. Silver
Dude,
spur.
Dude has the other one.
Repair and grants a +1 to attack and damage rolls. In addition, the blade itself is also silver. Okay, nope, that is it. Yeah, +1
cool.
and then silvered.
Okay, cool. So 19 damage then. Silvered.
Okay, 19. Okay, so unlike the spells that the thunder damage and the dagger damage that Solana just inflicted upon this creature, the damage that you just dealt is far and away much more devastating. He seemed to almost slough off a good portion of the damage from the other sources, but this sword, it sears the wounds as it cuts through him, and he reels in pain and agony. You said it was 19 points?
Yep.
Okay. What does it look like as this sword stroke ends his life?
So I think Locke's just like very calmly approaching this were-rat from the back. He'll just reach down and haul him up off the ground and shove him against the wall and just slide the silvered rapier into his chest, slide it out, and then just kind of let him drop to the ground, just in one sort of smooth, fluid motion, ending it quickly.
Before his body even hits the ground, you see the same like whiskered human face where he just stood, now kind of laying on the ground, staring up at the sky, no longer bestial, but once again a man.
Okay. Then I think I'm going to action surge. So I used about 15 feet to get to dude. Can I get to another rat in 15 feet?
No, I think you'd have to get to the end of the corridor first, the end of the alleyway.
Cool. Then I'll just do that. I'll spend the rest of my movement to get as far down this alleyway as I can.
Back towards the fountain?
Yeah, I still want to be in the alleyway, but like I don't want to go past the mouth of it, basically, but I want to be closer to the other rats.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, so Lox now looms kind of in the opening to this alleyway. Sylvie, you enter the courtyard.
Yeah, Sylvia enters the courtyard, and can she see where the rats from where she is, or does she have to kind of go around the fountain?
Yeah, make a perception check for me.
Okay. I'm going to use my inspiration.
Okay, sure.
Was a 5. Okay, 16.
Okay, yeah. You can see one of them. This rat is diseased looking, kind of trying to recover its feet underneath its kind of pustule covered body. And it's bleeding pretty badly. It looks like it might be involved in what's going on.
Silva's gonna hit it. I think just
Yeah, sure.
as rude as that is, just it's diseased in a rat. Kill it. Sylvie's going to. You see Sylvie grab from her pocket. She grabs these 3 needles, and is going to each one. She kind of chucks in the direction of this figure, and immediately they look like they have this red tail glowing of magic that immediately goes behind them, and it almost look like they turn into missiles as she casts magic missile on this
Wonderful.
guy.
Excellent. All right.
So oh wow, got a 4, and a 2. So that's 13 points of force damage.
Okay. Okay. It is still alive, though it is sickeningly charred and leaking.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, that was Sylvie. Okay. These 2 creatures. The first one, again, you hear that kind of snapping kind of noise, and the small kind of scurrying rat, as a part of standing up, has turned into, again, one of these lycanthropes, and is brandishing a short sword that is pitted and rusted. The blade probably no longer even has much of a point on the end. And this one is going to turn towards Lox and move to him, swinging twice. $19, I think, is going to hit.
I'm going to go ahead and cast Shield as a reaction.
Ah, nice. Okay. And that makes your AC...
That would make my AC 21.
21, so...
Because Shield adds... Yeah, +5 bonus to AC.
All right. So what does it look like as both of these sword blows would have hit if not for this spell?
Oh, man. Okay, awesome. So... Lox does this almost just absently, defensively. It's literally a reaction. He sort of swirls his cloak, and there's this this sort of spectral feather, almost this sort of feathery, wispy barrier that comes up just for an instant, long enough for both of these strikes to sort of glance off of it, almost as if he held up a shield. And he immediately whirls, puts some distance between himself and these rats, these were creatures, and he's ready to strike.
Okay. Everyone, if you would please, make a perception check. Sylvie, on this, you can have advantage again. This is the same one that you just injured.
23.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, Vera and Sylvie, the two of you have noticed that the one that was badly wounded by Sylvie's magic missile has moved around the outside of the courtyard to just beside Sylvie's shop, and then starts to change and again change its form into this hybrid standing form, and you hear the scream of a young boy as this rat grabs a hold of Balso bodily, causing the boy to drop his club and clattering against the stones. And you can see this were-rat sink his teeth into the shoulder of the boy before dropping him, kind of giving you a menacing, glaring smile, and then trying to begin to run away. Vera, it is your turn.
Seeing this happen so fast, as soon as he starts to take that first step to move away, Vera is going to kind of reach out, and she's just going to go vermin, and I'm going to use my bonus action to cast a bardic inspiration on him, which I can do with, and it's called Unsettling Words, and I can roll a d6, and then he has to subtract that from his next saving throw that he makes. So I'm going to start with that.
Damn. That's awesome.
And I rolled a 3, so he has to subtract a 3 from his saving throw. And then she's going to say, she's going to, as she's doing that, and she's kind of saying that and spits that word out, this kind of like kind of like dark blue, kind of like almost like mist, like when you're in cold air and the breath fogs and comes out, it comes out of her mouth, and it kind of like slides over to him and kind of maybe like wraps around his head a little bit. And then she's going to immediately turn around, and she's going to cast at 2nd level Hold Person. And he has to roll a wisdom saving throw and subtract 3, and hopefully he doesn't beat a 13. So that's what I'm hoping.
So no, he didn't even beat it with before the negative was on place. So with that extra curse, as it were, he has no chance.
Okay.
So yeah, he goes rigid, kind of mid-stride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I think when she kind of does that, she threw her hand out to say like vermin, and then when the mist hit him, she almost kind of like pulls back and like he just kind of like freezes in mid position like that. And she just looks over at Sylvie, who's closest to her, and she's like, the boy.
Okay, that was Vera. It is okay. Need a d20 roll from him. Ooh, okay. You can see the boy lying on the ground, and he's not moving. Guillaume, it's your turn.
Okay, so are there still 2, or is it just the one left?
So there are 2 that are alive. One of them is currently paralyzed by Hold Person. The other one is still fighting.
Okay. Then I will turn towards the one that is still fighting. And with that cane, with the orb, with the orb top, he'll reach out and twist it and send a bolt of electricity towards him with Witch Bolt. I think is just attack, right?
Yeah, I think it's a spell attack from you. I remember right.
I believe so. Yes. And I'll just do this one at first level. Ooh, that's not bad. That's gonna be an 18 to hit.
Yes, that absolutely will make contact.
Fantastic. And then a d12 of damage, which is going to be a 10. A 10 of lightning damage. And
Damn.
yeah, and so this arc of electricity just strikes out from this orb and zaps into this rat. And while the arc retreats, there's still this sort of like slight line of crackle between Guillaume's staff or cane and this where this rat was struck as he holds concentration on Witch Bolt to
Excellent.
continue zapping him. And I'll also he'll start moving back. He doesn't want to get too far out of range, but he wants to be at least 20, 25 feet away, a little out of the battle proper.
Okay. Sure. You kind of scoot back, kind of maintaining this kind of line of static charge between the air between you. That is Guillaume. Okay, we are back to the top of the round with Solana.
Okay, so as far as I can tell right now, there's a rat held in place at Sylvie's shop.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that Guillaume is fighting, and then there's a dead one that Lox has left on the ground and run away from me.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go to the one that's dead on the ground and grab back my dagger that I threw at it. And then head towards Sylvie and her shop after that. I don't know how far I can get and all of that.
Okay. So you kind of move past Lox into the alleyway where this individual is laid out, now human again, staring up at the sky. You kind of pull your dagger out, kind of maybe even like roll him over with your boot or something so you can pull this dagger out of his back. You make your way back out of the alley and start to cross the square. If you're not taking any other actions, then you can move the entire distance.
I will move the entire distance, and then as a bonus action, I will do my help against, again, 2 Lox against attacking the one that's still standing and not paralyzed.
Excellent. Okay, so that was Solana, and once again, it is Lox's turn.
And that gives you an advantage when you attack it.
Cool, great. So I'm going to move to the rat that Guillaume is witch bolting. As if I can make it to that with 30 feet of movement.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he was approaching the alleyway before the shit hit the fan.
Okay, cool. And I'm just going to do another swipe with my rapier here as it's conducting electricity.
Yeah, it's an arc between 2 of his whiskers.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 24. I'm going to roll again to make sure I don't crit again. I did not. So 24 to hit, I assume hits.
Yes, absolutely.
And then 7 on the die plus 6. That's 13 piercing damage silvered coming at this rat.
All right. So you can describe what it looks like as you take down this second one.
I sort of just stab downward with the rapier, like between the sort of like the strikes of this witch bolt, and I skewer it, this sort of smoldering massive rat, skewer it with the rapier, pull it out, and then just give Guillaume like a nod from across the square, like, hey man,
Guillaume,
like happy to take your kills, basically.
Yeah, Guillaume yells like, I was in the middle of killing him.
And then
his borrowed
I will look for the third rat, which I probably am unaware at this point is now paralyzed after injuring Balso. But I will, if I have any movement left, will continue moving in that direction, sort of almost not sprinting, but jogging across the square and sort of leaping over any obstacles in my way.
Right. I imagine almost like you spot like the rat over by Sylvie's shop, and he's kind of standing perfectly still, oddly. And as you kind of like run around the circumference of the fountain, like just about the time like your round ends, like your turn ends, you spot the boy's body, Balso, kind of laying on the ground, where the fountain had like obscured him before. Now you see him kind of lying on the ground, still.
There's this like all the blood leaves Lox's face. He just instantly pales. His eye is just wide. He like might even drop his sword to the ground as he comes around the corner and sees this and just says, no.
Sylvie, it is your turn.
Hearing Vera's call to Sylvie, she's going to run towards the child.
Yeah, and it's not far from where, you know, the exit of your shop is, so and it doesn't sound like you moved that much across the courtyard, so I think you absolutely would be able to reach him.
She's going to reach him, and she's just going to quickly just check him over, like just trying to. She sees the wound, and she's just checking if he's still alive. Just foolish child.
Yeah, he's roll me a medicine check, if you would.
Would. It's a 10.
Okay. You don't know if he's still alive or not. If he is, his breathing is very shallow, enough so that your untrained eye isn't able to detect. But without a doubt, the bite wound on his shoulder is like pretty bad, and it is already beginning to fester as if it is dealing with infection.
Is Sylvie still able to make an action?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sylvie begins ripping off pieces of her clothing and pressing it into the wound, the bite, and you see a soft glow from underneath the fabric as she's going to cast Cure Wounds.
Excellent. Okay, so you do this, and this is a spell that you've done before. You've seen its effects. This behaves differently. Like the wound, it knits closed, like he stops bleeding from it, but the festering look, the rot and the infection around it, the kind of red pink coloration to the flesh does not go away.
I think seeing that, Sylvie looks up, sees Lox kind of coming around that other side of the fountain. I imagine you make eye contact with Sylvie, and her eyes look like distraught before she glances, you see, to the fountain.
The were-rat that is currently held strains against the magic that holds him in place, but to no avail. He is stuck fast and does not budge. Vera, it is your turn.
I think, you know, Vera does like cure wounds and stuff, so she's watching what Sylvie's doing, so she obviously would know what's going on with it. I think she'd kind of just look around and maybe see Locks coming around. She would probably. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna use. Oh, I can't because they're both concentration. Oh, darn. Okay, never mind. Yeah. So she's just gonna look over at Locks and Sylvie's tending the boy. Tie him up. We need to. I can't hold this forever.
Okay. Are there any actions or bonus actions that you wish to take?
No, I think I'm good for right now.
Okay. Okay, let's see. His wounds have been cured, so he doesn't need to make another save. Guillaume, it is your turn.
I will okay, so yeah, this crackling energy sort of snaps back into the end of his cane, and he sort of shakes it out as it kind of fizzles out with the remaining energy as he's had his witch bolt stolen from him. And while sort of glaring a little bit at Loxley, he'll run over towards Sylvie's shop and start looking for anything that they can tie, like whatever the strongest looking fabric that he can tear up to start tying up, or if there's any rope in the shop, like whatever he can use. But it's the only place where he knows he's not like stealing from anyone who he can't apologize to in person. Gotta tie this guy up. Well, I don't have anything on me. I don't carry rope. What am I, a peasant?
Perfect. There's some bolt of like rather expensive fabric, kind of like displayed in the window or something. Guillaume just like comes out with this, like trailing behind him.
But yeah, that's about it. Just trying to like get some stuff and get as close as I can to getting him tied up, or getting getting someone the fabric
Sure.
to tie him up as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so between Guillaume and Lox, and whoever else may be helping, you're absolutely able to kind of truss up this remaining were-rat who likely is not going to escape the grasps of the hold person spell that he's under. So at some point he will kind of begin to move and squirm around again, kind of slowly transitioning back to his human form, just as the ones who had been slain had done involuntarily. And while that is happening, what exactly is being done with Bolso, if anything?
So I imagine that Solana was on her way to the front door when all this was going down, and she's going to get there probably just as Sylvie has been looking at Locks and the tears are in her eyes, and she looks down at the boy and she crouches down beside Sylvie and she looks up at Sylvie, and there's tears in her eyes, Sylvia. She looks at you, and without like words or anything, I think she maybe almost reads your mind a little bit about the fountain, and she starts to pick him up to carry him towards there, letting you go with her if you want. Take him towards the fountain.
Yeah, Sylvie definitely follows silently as she's looking at the wound, looking at the boy's, I'm assuming probably very sickly pallor that he has, color draining from his lips, and follows silently beside Solana.
And then Solana's just like tearfully, like pleading with her eyes, like for you to do something, anything, help this boy. What was that poem again that we both knew?
Yeah. Okay. It seems fortune favors the bold, but only if they pay in gold. If a pauper pays copper for his heartfelt offer, his luck in his hand he shall hold. I can put it in chat if you'd like.
You can see Sylvie begins to recite the poem as they begin walking towards this fountain. She no longer has this kind of shell-shocked look on her face, but now one of stern determination, trying to dissect this poem, making sure that if this does work or something, it's going to be correct. She looks to Solana. It says that we should pay in gold, but it also says that pauper pays a copper. Do you think that is just how much he has?
I don't know. I mean, you and I are neither paupers, but this boy sure is. But I don't know if he can. I don't know. Sylvie, you're the smart one. I have a gold.
I do as well, but I'm not sure that is going to be enough. She kind of holds her head and just scratches it and looks. I will give that all that I have on me. Maybe that will work. I shall try first. And if it does not work for me, then perhaps you can try something different.
Okay.
So Sylvie's going to take all her gold.
Okay. How much?
Gold. Yeah, she wants to, yeah.
Yeah, like how much walking around cash do you have? What coinage do you carry on you?
Yeah, so what I put for percentages, I put that she carries 5% of her wealth in gold.
Okay. How much does that equate to?
I'm not sure.
Making us do math. Come on.
Okay, fair. No, fair. That's fair. Okay, so my point is, of your walking around money, you're putting 100% of that in the fountain?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to clarify. All right.
Yeah, sorry. 100% of what she's carrying, she's going to put in. But it's only about 5% of her total wealth that she has.
And as you empty your coin purse into this fountain, what is the heartfelt wish that is on Sylvie's heart?
Sylvie looks at the boy, and with all of her heart and anguish looking at him, remembers him being healthy and hale as he came running into the shop, and she wishes for him to return to that, be as healthy and as hale as what he once was when she saw him last.
And one more question for you. What is Sylvie's favorite color?
I think her favorite color would be a very light lilac.
So all of you see Sylvie dump her coin purse into the waters and kind of close her eyes for just a moment. And at first, nothing seems to have happened. Nothing seems to change. But for those of you who are paying attention, the rainbow shrouded mist in this clearing all turns a pale lilac color. And suddenly, the festering of the boy's wound, the The infection seems to fade, like as you're watching it. It slowly just dissolves underneath his skin, and his color returns to normal. And he kind of blinks, his eyes awake, conscious again.
Solana actually holding him still in her arms at this moment, seeing him come back, seeing the wound clear and life come back into his eyes is just, poor kid, I'm sorry, gives him this hardest bear hug that that she can at this moment, and just like wraps her arms around him and just squeezes.
Lady, you're hurting me.
I'm so sorry. But you're okay.
I think so. He kind of looks around, kind of more concerned with the look on all of y'all's faces, kind of looking back at him. What happened?
You are so brave.
Where is Lox?
Be careful. And she would just kind of like set him down a little bit and push him towards where Lox is at this moment. Not like pushing him, but to indicate kind of where he's at.
Yeah.
Lox is go ahead, Jeremy.
No, please.
Lox is standing there, somewhat motionless, with this look on his face, sort of tears welling in his one eye. And as he sees that Balso's okay, the tears might even start flowing. His sword he dropped to the ground, and as soon as he sees that Balso's okay, he just sort of like turns and he sees the tied up were-rat, and he starts going toward him with this very purposeful stead to his gait.
Guillaume, who is like just finishing tying him up, inside. Let's get inside Sylvie's shop. Let's off the street. Come on. And he starts like trying to drag the guy, but he's not particularly strong. And it's this kind of pathetic attempt at it, as he's like, he's like scooting along the ground just barely.
And this guy is like trying to like snap still. He's not in a rat form anymore, but he's still gnashing his teeth like he is a beast at Guillaume.
I think Vera will, seeing Lox kind of walking up, Vera will step up and wrap her arm in his and say, I am angry too, but no. I kept him alive for a reason.
Don't worry. I ain't gonna kill him.
Let's close down the shop.
It would be helpful if he was squirming less.
Who is this old man here?
Oh, that's Guillaume.
Hello. Yes, sorry. And he switches back to his own voice for a moment. Just
I forgot about that.
I didn't want anyone to hear me.
She just kind of looks at Guillaume and just her lip curls and she gets this very angry look on her face. And she just, get in the shop.
Good to see you too, Vera. He'll head inside. Although he'll turn to Loxley. I think it would be a good idea to get these bodies maybe kicked into a canal or something, just not where they're immediately visible. If any Justicaros come by, it's a little too close to the shop.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Sure.
We'll deal with this guy. We'll get him inside and quiet it up. And Guillaume will just turn and give him just kind of a bonk on the head with his cane with the orb.
After recovering from with the boy and everything, she sees Guillaume just like dragging this person into her shop, and she's wait, I have to put something down. We cannot ruin the floors. And she just rushes in and begins just like setting down like this, I imagine this like canvas
Let me lay out my Patrick Bateman tarp real quick.
I imagine too.
Extra this shit here.
I imagine
Selena's
that
helping her move all the bolts of fabric away from the area so no spatter can happen, you know?
I imagine too, as she's seeing Guillaume like pull, like very inefficiently pull this guy in with wrapped up in this expensive fabric. She's probably just like cringing every time there's a jerk on it. She's probably like just this like just absolute terror on Sylvie's poor face.
We got these like twitches going every time he's like pulling on the fabric. Like, no.
Fantastic. What time is it?
It's
Yeah.
like 8 o'clock, Jeremy.
I
We
think-
have plenty of time to play.
I think this is where we're going to call it. Right before the questioning of this rat takes place.
This is good, guys. We have time to refine our questions. I have
Yeah,
so
there you
many
go.
ideas, so many thoughts.
Perfect. This was incredible. Thank all of you so much. Please go ahead and take a point of inspiration for your characters and level up for next session. This was awesome. I was really looking forward to the stuff that I had planned for this session, and once again, all of you just absolutely smashed it. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass things back over to my players so that they can give outros, once again touch on where you might be able to find them on the internet, what they have going on, et cetera, and then we're going to call it an evening. So we will start in reverse order, this time with Kenya.
Oh, I wasn't ready. Okay. Kenya, Acerson, you can catch me on Sundays at 10:30 in the morning for my game. It's kind of crazy. We had some really good stuff happening. It's getting good. You can catch me on my channel on Friday nights, every other Friday night. This week, Friday, for Westocalypse, where my friend Cole runs the game, and Jarl DM in 2 weeks on his channel for Iskloft, and then of course, fourth Wednesday of every month here, where it's awesome. It is the fourth Wednesday, right? Or is it the third?
It is the, I think, well, no.
Wait,
No, it
no,
is the
it's the third. It's the third
It is the
Wednesday.
third.
I'm a week ahead. It's the third Wednesday of every month here for this amazing game. Thank you, Jeremy, for running this game. It's so good. I'm just loving every moment of it. So yeah, definitely check us out in the future.
Absolutely. And yeah, like I said, Gerdes has been something I've wanted to run for a long time. The moment that I kind of had the idea behind putting a setting in this genre, I was super excited for it. So finally being able to dive in has been just beautiful. Okay, so next we have Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt. This was so much fun. I cannot believe how pissed I was at these fictional were-rats because they were hurting my friend. And I'm so excited for what comes next in this game. Always a blast, Jeremy. Thank you again for having me. And yeah, take care, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Matt. We were talking about it in our chat. It is actually the fourth Wednesday of the month. We'll figure this out at some point. So, yes, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for lending your anger to these were-rats. If I can make my players angry at my villains and antagonists, then I'm doing something right. So that makes me happy. All right, next up, speaking of making me happy,
Looking at all the cool stuff my character can do now, which is very neat. This was so great. This game is so much fun, though I feel like I need to have one of those boards with the names and the red string attached at all times. Maybe I'll make one. So but thank you so much for having me, and yeah, so much fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely my pleasure. I like to run my campaigns where there's a bunch of threads, and as we get closer and closer and closer, hopefully those things will start to make sense and will be tied up in interesting ways, but we'll see. So thank you for all playing along, even if you are thoroughly confused. It is very appreciated. All right, speaking of very appreciated, Austin.
I thought you were going to go with thoroughly confused.
Thoroughly confused and very appreciated. No.
This was a blast as always, Jeremy. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoy these games. You're constantly outdoing yourself. This one I can't wait to see where it goes. I've got a billion ideas about what is going on, and I can't wait to like get into our like next session of scheming and figuring out. The only thing that I can think of to plug is come back to this channel on Sunday for Firefly, because it's the second episode of our trilogy, and that has already started heating up. We gave a teenager a gun, so things might go horribly.
It's so good.
It's a blast.
So good.
It's a freaking
so good.
blast. It's so much better than it has any right to be for our first time doing the system, and like a couple people who like have not even seen the show. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun.
Blown away how good the first episode was. I was blown away. It was so good.
Yeah. So that's the only thing I can think of. This is just so much fun. I can't wait to get back into it. I can't believe we have to wait an extra week before we get to play our next session. But then we'll torture a were-rat and figure out what's going on with them.
I'm sure that's going to be very, very pleasant. Like I said, this game has very, very quickly become one of my favorite things. I have a very long-running campaign that's also here on the channel, Beneath the Banner Shadow, that is very near and dear to my heart, and which makes perfect sense because we've been playing that one for almost 4 years. And this one, even though we're only six sessions in, is already really, really amazing, and I cannot wait to dive deeper. And yes, the Firefly mini campaign that is ongoing, Act 2 is going to be hella badass. The group of people playing that game are also phenomenal players, and understand their characters really, really well. And the interesting dynamic relationships that they've already developed is really fun to watch kind of play out. All the little barbs, and not dissimilar from this game.
Might I just add, here's to hopefully 4 years of our sexy shenanigans.
Perhaps. Who knows? It could happen. Yeah, I think in Beneath the Banner Shadow, they've ticked off the first bullet point of their quest in 4 years, almost 4 years. Yeah. So that one's going well. No, it actually really is. It's just going very slow.
I'm just imagining how much yarn M's gonna need to make this thing if it goes 4 years.
It's gonna fill up my apartment.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Last but certainly not least, speaking of fantastic, Karen.
Unmute, having troubles. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. This game was amazing. It was awesome to dip my toes into a different character for a week, so that was kind of fun. I don't know what else to say. I guess I want to plug Banners. Going to be on April 18th on this channel. Come back and see it. It's amazing. We're doing all the side quests first, then we'll go on to the main quest, because that's how you do things, right? It's an amazing game. I love it. I love this one. This one's turning out to be so much fun too. I love all the character interactions and all the little secrets everybody's got going, and the ones that our infamous GM has got going for us too, because there are some weird things going on here. We're not sure what's going on. our chat was like going crazy with all the conspiracy theories, which is why we're all going to have those boards connecting names. We'll take a whole session one time, I'm sure, just explaining what we're thinking in character. But anyway, I digress. This was fabulous, and I can't wait for the next session. Thank you guys.
Perfect. Yeah, I will absolutely give you all some time to sit down with your planning boards and yarn next session. Maybe you can have some time to in character kind of discuss what theories you may have, start trying to connect some of these dots, and maybe I'll just sit here and listen, pick up on some things. I mean, no, I wouldn't do that, but anyways, yeah, you're all incredible. Thank you very, very much for agreeing to play in this game and for bringing it every single session, making the stuff that I'm throwing at you, not only adding your own flair and making it interesting, but also letting it really impact you, investing yourself emotionally in what's going on. It is so rewarding as a dungeon master. So thank you. For anybody who has tuned in this evening, thank you very much. Whether you watched with us live this evening or whether you might be tuning in at some point down the road in the future, it is hugely appreciated. Thank you. If you enjoyed tonight, hit the like button, subscribe so that you can see more. Matt disappeared. That's fine. But thank you very, very much. And yeah, share the link around, talk about it with your friends, invite other people to watch it with you, etc., etc. And until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.